Okay, good afternoon to one and all. In the previous session, we discussed about process concepts like how to create the process, various entries in the process control block, and states transition diagram of a process. We have 2-state diagram, 3-state and 5-state diagram. Then process operations. We have mainly focused on 4 operations. One is process creation, process scheduling, process execution and termination. Those are the various operations. Now, in today's session, we discuss about scheduling queues. First of all, what do you mean by scheduling? It is one of the operation of a process. Means operating system main functionality as resource allocation with the help of scheduling policy. Means maximize the CPU utilization and minimize the memory requirements. Those 2 factors we have to consider. Based upon those 2 factors, we have to schedule the CPU. Process scheduler selects among available processes for next execution on CPU. For this scheduling, you have to maintain some queue. Queue is a linear data structure. Insertions will be done from the rear end and deletions from the front end. It maintains 3 types of queues. Job queue, set of all processes in the system are placed into the job queue. From that, the ready queue will set all the processes and place into the main memory and waiting to execute for getting the chance of CPU. That is called as ready state, as I explained in the last session. Device queue. In between process, it performs IO operations. Set of processes are waiting for an IO device. Process migrates among the various queues. That is device queue. Means input output queue or IO queue. We are called it as IO queue or device queue. Mainly these 3 queues are used for scheduling process. First one, job queue, ready queue, device or IO queue. Just observe this, the diagram. Listen carefully, all of you. This is the representation of process scheduling queues. It is a queuing diagram, represents various queues that used while in the scheduling concept. This is the ready queue. All the processes are kept in the ready queue, and this is the CPU. If you want to, OS will assign based upon the scheduling policy that first process may be assigned to the CPU. Some criteria algorithms are there to assign. In between, an IO will be occurred, IO operation, input output operation. Then IO queue will be there to handle that. This from that CPU it requests the IO request. This request will be processed by the IO queue and it performs IO operation. Then again placed into that in between blocked process will be placed into the ready queue. After execution of IO operations, again it move to the ready queue. For example, CPU will receive some timer signal, time slice expired. This is the time slice expired. Means the users may not wants to execute the process because whenever the timer gives the timeout signal, the CPU automatically releases the currently executing process and switches to the some other process. Time slice expired. Then again, in between some portion maybe in the middle of the execution, then again it will be moved to the ready queue. Then CPU creates a child process with a fork. A child fork is a system call to create a child process. Then child executes. During the child executes, again the child will be also added to the ready queue. Then wait for an interrupt. When CPU receives an external hardware interrupt or software interrupt in between, an interrupt will be occur, then stops the current execution of that particular process. The CPU handles some other process. Your interrupt service routine will be there, ISR. That interrupt service routine will handle this interrupt and again placed to the ready queue for next chances of getting the execution. These are the two queues I will shown here, because job queue purpose as to select all the programs which are available from the disk, secondary storage device, disk. From that it will collect all the programs and place into the job queue. That is the purpose of a job queue. But whenever a ready queue is there, this ready queue is used to get the processes from the job queue and place into the main memory, waiting for the chance of getting CPU. This is the queuing diagram that represents your ready queue and IO queue. IO queue is also known as your device queue. Take a screenshot or just note down the diagram. This is the ready queue. This is the CPU. Everybody knows CPU means central processing unit. Entire execution of any process done by the CPU only. The CPU have 4 to 5 conditions I will shown here. Normal ready queue, first process executed, successfully terminated by the CPU. It will removed from the process control block, completely terminates from the memory pool. That is the normal termination. Out arrow. For example, that is not a normal termination. The process may not be executed in a normal termination. It means it is an abnormal termination. Then either IO request will be there, or time slice expired, fork a child, or wait for an interrupt. These are the various queues used in case of scheduling concept. Okay. Now let us discuss about types of schedulers. Types of schedulers. You have mainly 3 types of schedulers are available. One as long-term scheduler, second one as short-term scheduler, third one as medium-term scheduler. Just listen one by one. What do you mean by a long-term scheduler? First, long-term scheduler or job scheduler selects which process should be brought into the ready queue. Means whenever a user wants to create a program, all the programs are available in the secondary storage or hard disk. From that hard disk, with the help of swapping operation, move which programs are going to be executed by the user. Means from the user mode to, you want to shift to the kernel mode. That is done by the long-term scheduler or job scheduler. Select which process should be brought into the ready queue. Means from job queue to the ready queue. Ready queue means normally in the main memory. The ready queue is available in the main memory. Main memory, and prepare it for execution and assign the CPU to this particular process. Long-term scheduler is invoked frequently in seconds or minutes, maybe slow. The long-term scheduler controls the degree of multi-programming. Everybody know multi-programming means executing more than one program at a time. It controls the entire degree of multi-programming. Second one as short-term scheduler or CPU scheduler. Listen carefully. Short-term scheduler is also known as CPU scheduler, central processing unit scheduler, or call it as process scheduler or processor scheduler. Selects which process should be executed next and allocates the CPU. For example, in the ready queue, P1, P2, P3, P4, by applying some of the scheduling policy or algorithm, based upon that algorithm, you have to execute P1 first, followed by the P2, P3, P4, some order. Likewise, the short-term scheduler selects the process and allocates to the CPU. Means all the ready queue processes are P1 to so on, and number of processes are in the ready queue for waiting for the CPU. Now this short-term scheduler will allocate that CPU to the next upcoming process. Short-term schedulers are invoked frequently in milliseconds. It must be very fast because the ready queue is also in main memory. CPU is available. Then directly it will assign within the fraction of milliseconds. It will complete the assignment. That is called as the scheduling. Scheduling is the process to execute which process is going to be executed next by the CPU, called as a scheduling. That entire process scheduling, that program executed to assign that particular CPU is called as a short-term scheduler or CPU scheduler. Means when compared to the long-term scheduler and short-term scheduler, your short-term scheduler is the fastest one. Normally, your process can be described either IO bound process or CPU bound process. Always the CPU may be in execution. If it will be in an idle state, the process must be goes to the IO, input output. Means only, a computer is a device which will perform accepting the input from the keyboard, IPO, processing and output. Only these three basic operations carried out by any computer, by any operating system. Means, first of all, the process is running, the CPU will be in running state. At that moment, you have to run the program. Then CPU wants to need the input. It will be transferred, that process will be transferred to the IO queue or device queue. That CPU will be busy in some other task. This entire thing will be handled by the dispatcher. You are called as a dispatcher. Dispatch latency will be there. Dispatch latency means in between the process is moving, either running to the ready or ready to the block or block to the ready or running to the terminated. In between the states, the dispatcher will have some amount of time is required. That amount of time you are called as. Okay, now let us discuss about medium-term scheduler. Medium-term scheduler can be added if the degree of multiple programming needs to decrease, because always CPU in either execution running state or IO transfer. Then that medium-term scheduler functionality as it performs remove the process from the memory, store onto the disk and bring back from the disk to memory again. That is called as a swapping. The process of remove the process from memory and place into the disk and again move back from the disk to the main memory and continue its execution. That is called as swapping. Swap in, swap out. Listen, this is the CPU ready queue. For example, partially executed swap out process. This is your IO queue or device queue. Then from this ready queue, it will be moved to the swap in operation. After that, partially executed program also wants to assign to the CPU. This medium-term scheduler will pick up this process, that is swap out operation, and assign to the CPU. For example, it is completely executed and again if any IO are required, IO waiting queue, again transfer to the IO queue or device queue and you have to perform IO and place into the ready queue. Again from this ready queue to the CPU will complete the task. This is called as the medium term scheduler. Means totally you have three types of schedulers. First one as long term scheduler, second one as short term scheduler, third one as medium term scheduler. When compared to these three types of schedulers, your long term scheduler is the slow compared to the short term and medium term. Short term scheduler will be the fastest one, which will pick up the process and assign to the CPU, and which process is next to be executed also decided by the scheduling. This is the regarding medium term scheduler. Your CPU scheduler means your short term scheduler. It selects from among the number of processes in the ready queue and allocates the CPU to any one of them by applying some scheduling algorithms. This queue may be ordered in various ways. The CPU scheduling decisions may take place when a process either switches from running state to the waiting state, otherwise from running to the ready state, otherwise it switches from waiting to the ready. These are the three possible situations. Normally, the process may switches from either running to the waiting, after waiting again it moves to the ready state. Means either running to the ready state or waiting to the ready state. These are the three possible ways you have. Finally, you have the terminate for complete termination. Scheduling under 1 and 4 is non-preemptive. Here you should remember the word as either the scheduling algorithm may be of any type of this algorithm, non-preemptive or preemptive algorithms. Listen carefully. Non-preemptive means once the process will be allocated to that CPU, until entire completion of that process, the CPU with that process only. It may not be preempted. It may not be removed from that process. The CPU, excuse me, the CPU may not be removed from that process. That is called as non-preemptive. For example, in case of preemptive means whenever the process wants to execute a particular process, that CPU will be in execution state. At that moment, some IO is required running, it will be moved to the running state to the ready state. Then automatically the CPU will be switched to the next process. That is called as preemption. Means immediately moved without currently running process is leaved and switches to the next process is called as a preemptive scheduling. Normally you have two types of schedulings. One as non-preemptive, second one as preemptive. Consider this case. 1 and 4 is non-preemptive. Switches from running to waiting. Means running state, the process is in execution state and go for waiting state. But until that, after waiting, it will be again moved to the ready state and then continues its execution. The CPU will complete the entire execution. That is called as the non-preemptive scheduling. Terminates. Successful completion of the program called as a termination. Means the entire CPU will be held with that particular process and it will be removed after the successful execution. Then only it switch to the next process. That is called as the non-preemptive scheduling. All other scheduling is preemptive. Means 2, 3 are preemptive. Listen to. Switches from running to ready. Then again the CPU will move to some other process. That is called as a preemptive. Switches from waiting to ready. Waiting to ready. Then the CPU will be in execution of some other job, then it is also a preemptive scheduling algorithm. This preemption will be also done by the kernel mode. This preemption will be done by the kernel mode. Consider interrupts occurring during crucial OS activities. Means in between you have the interrupts will be occur. That time also interrupt may needs more amount of time to handle that interrupt. Automatically CPU decides I want to move to the some other process. That is the OS decides, and based upon the program or process, the scheduling may be either non-preemptive or preemptive scheduling. That non-preemptive and preemptive scheduling decision will be finally decided by the operating system. The decision will be finalized and that will be handled with the short-term scheduler or CPU scheduler. That CPU scheduler can take care of assigning all the processes without any intermediate disturbance, means without any memory overlapping. For example, in memory you have P1 to P10 processes, 10 processes are in waiting state. For example, first process will be assigned to CPU. Remaining all 9 processes must be in the continuously waiting state. It may be hours or days, because the first process time short time, then it is easy to move to the next process. For example, it may need 3 days to execute. Until the completion of first process execution, that 3 days, remaining all 9 processes must be in the waiting state. That is the drawback. At that time, the OS will take one more decision and scheduling will be taken place. Okay, with this, stop today. Any doubts? Any more doubts in today's session? How many types of schedulers are there? How many types of schedulers are there? Anybody unmute yourself? Names. Names of schedulers. Who is Mahendra Sai and Sai Gautam? Rename with your register numbers, otherwise I will put an absent. Roll number 99 has less attendance. Inform to your friends. It's a mandatory to get the 75% attendance, because if you want to get the fee reimbursement, it's a must criteria, and eligible to write the exams also for JNTU. Okay, 75% is must. There is no 65% issue because of 67 medical facility. You are at home. You follow the principle. Stay home. Stay safe. Then what's the problem to log in with online? If any network problem or any power failure problems are there, inform to your class teacher or counselor in advance, because attendance sheet is automatically generated by the Zoom. Everything will be recorded. Today class also nearly 10 members, around 10 members are absent. What is the problem? In today's class, we will discuss about various scheduling queues. Mainly three types of scheduling queues. One as job queue, ready queue, device or IO queue, and various types of schedulers are job scheduler or long-term scheduler. Second one as short-term scheduler or CPU scheduler. Third one as medium-term scheduler or IO scheduler. You are called as IO scheduler. If you want to compare these three types of schedulers, either job or short-term or CPU scheduler or medium-term schedulers, among these three, your CPU scheduler or short-term scheduler will be the fastest one when compared to the remaining two. Medium-term scheduler is always slow because it performs all IO operations and handling of input-output is possible. Always your short-term scheduler will play a vital role in the scheduling concept. All the scheduling algorithms may be of either preemptive or non-preemptive scheduling. In the next session, I explain preemptive and non-preemptive scheduling algorithms in the next coming session. We will meet you tomorrow. I will continue in the tomorrow session. I will explain about CPU scheduling criteria and scheduling algorithms. With this, I end up the today's session.